Hi, my name is YLT Judge and have another video. And this one is about judge not that ye may not be judged is far more ominous than you think. It's far more ominous than you think. You know, it's, let's go there first. Let's see, I tried printing this. I think this is not as clear. So, we'll go here. So, let's go to Matthew 7, and we are at 1. Okay, so we're right at the beginning, and it says, "Judge not, that ye be not, that ye may not be judged. For in what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and in what measure ye measure, it shall be measured to you." So the judgment process that the individual uses is the same judgment process that's going to be used upon them. Okay? And that's not the end, because right after measured to you, we go into this directly. "And why dost thou behold the mote that is in thy brother's eye, and the beam that in thine own eye dost not consider?" Okay, now, why are these two together? Well, the word, and I've said this in other videos, the word eye is a homonym for this word eye. Now, when Jesus was crucified, above his head was inri. And it was in 3 languages. It was in ancient Hebrew. Now, remember, ancient Hebrew. It was in Greek, ancient Greek. Put ancient Greek. And Latin or Roman. Now, we have ancient Hebrew and Aramaic texts. We have ancient Greek texts. And today, we are using the Latin alphabet. And we have English today. We did not have a Latin or Roman continuation of the Bible, but we are in 3 languages when Jesus was crucified. So, the Old Testament was the ancient Hebrew, the New Testament is in the Greek, and the resurrection for us is in English. And I know it's a big pill to swallow, but just put it aside. Why else do we have the word EYE as a homonym for eye? The eye actually has brain matter, and if people eat your brain and cook an eyeball, they taste the same. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm not promoting eating eyes or brains, like that's not my gig. So when we think of eye, it's also this eye. Okay, now let's read that part of the verse again. "And why dost thou behold the mote that is in thy brother's eye?" The mote in thy brother's eye. Remember, analogous teaching. "And the beam that is in thine own eye dost not consider." The beam in thine own eye thou dost not consider. You see that gigantic beam? Okay? "Judge not that he be not judged." This guy is judging this guy because he has a lowercase identity. But meanwhile, this guy is not considering the beam in his own eye. And this means huge identity, actually going from heaven to earth. That's the identity of the rich man. Judge not that ye be not judged is far more ominous. So, let's consider something again. Okay, we have up here space. This is land. This is dirt. The person under land is, I have said before, it's the person that can't see. This is the blind enabler. This is the person who is on earth in the now. In the now. By the way, when you read the Bible and you see now, that's always right now. And the third person is the inflated ego person, this person, and they have the inflated I. Okay? So here's our three people. Well, there's actually more. There's also the person that's the covert narcissist, which is a person with a big I, but is going to manipulate somebody else to get advancement. So you can say that's like the serpent. Okay? That's like the serpent eye. So, this person up here only sees themselves. Now, only sees themselves. So for them, yeah, and you can see this very easily, you let them talk. And what are they going to talk about? Themselves. They're going to say, I did this, and I did that, and I did it. And you could see that in people in politics, famous people, rich people. All these people have a tremendous I. This guy is making fun of the person with a small I, small head. Now, that person's making fun of this guy, small head. So he's judging him here. This person doesn't even have a head. No identity. Okay, this is the far right. This is the far left. When you have no identity, then your gender is questionable. Just think about that for a second. No identity. It's a leftist understanding. No head. The support of the no head people is that you can have gender fluidity. Now let's go to finish this up a bit. Okay, and why dost thou not behold that? And why dost thou behold? Why do you see or attention to the mote that in thy brother's eye, and the beam that in thine own eye dost not consider? Okay, here it comes. Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, suffer I may cast out the mote from thine eye, and lo, the beam is in thine own eye? They don't realize that this identity guy is a hypocrite saying to this guy, I'm going to help you. How's he going to help him? He's not going to help him. Because he has to cast out the big identity first out of his own eye. That big eye has to go. Now I'm getting somewhere with this, and when we get to it, you're going to see how crazy this is. Hypocrite. Okay, so now we know that this guy's a liar. All right, we know that this guy is a liar right now. We know that. Cast out first the beam out of thine own eye, and thou shalt see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. So he can't see clearly. He can't see clearly because he has his own beam in his own eye. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Now let's go to Luke 6:37. This is a parallel passage. Luke 6:37. Okay, 6:37. And judge not, and ye may not be judged. Condemn not, and ye may not be condemned. Release, and ye shall be released. Give, and it shall be given to you. Good measure, pressed and shaken, and running over, they shall give into your bosom. For with what measure with which ye measure, it shall be measured to you again. So the judge not, whatever you're giving, you're going to get back. So the judgment that you're going to give, and where that comes from, is going to be judged back to you again. And he spake a simile to them. Okay. Now, remember the last one. The rich man is going to the other person saying about that mote in thy brother's eye. So, and the eye has to do with seeing and also identity. 39 now. And he spake a simile to them, analogous thing. Is blind able to lead blind? So this guy with the huge identity now, same guy, right after we're talking about judge not that he be not judged, is able to lead the blind. Shall they not both fall into a pit? So the pit here is talking about, judgment into Sheol. A disciple's not above his teacher, but everyone perfected shall be as his teacher. And now, so they'll be as his teacher. So that means that Jesus, let me put this over. Jesus, the truth, the light, and the way to Yahweh, God, is our teacher. And we will be likened to Jesus. And why is that important? Because God sees us as Jesus, the beloved. Because my only beloved Son. Jesus is the Holy Spirit inside of us, indwells us. And now we parallel to Jesus, our teacher. Okay. And let's go further in Luke, and then we're going to go someplace else in a second. And why dost thou behold a mote in thy brother's eye, and the beam that is in thine own eye dost not consider? Or how art thou able to say to thy brother, suffer I, remember the identity, the big identity saying, I'm going to take it out. I'm going to use my will to take out the mote that in thine eye. Thyself the beam in thine own eye not beholding. Hypocrite, first take out the beam from thine own eye, and then thou shalt see clearly to take out the mote that is in thy brother's eye. For there is not a good tree making bad fruit, nor a bad tree making good fruit. For each tree from its own fruit is known. Now remember, just a second ago, the teacher is as the student. Okay, so this is the relationship. Tree from its own fruits is known. For not from thorns do they gather figs, nor from bramble do they crop a grape. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart doth bring forth that which is good, and the evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart doth bring forth that which is evil, for out of the abounding of the heart doth his mouth speak. So the other person was the hypocrite saying, I can take that out of you. He does not see the beam in his own eye. He is the inflated eye. And why do ye call me Lord, Lord, and do not what I say? Okay. Now we're going to jump someplace else. John 7:24 for a second. John 7:24. Go to, come on, old iPad. Okay, John 7:24. Okay. Judge not according to appearance, but the righteous judgment judge. Not according to appearance, but the righteous judgment. And now we're going to go to what that judgment is. John 3:19. I've gone over this verse plenty of times because it's just so powerful. And this is the judgment, that the light hath come to the world, and men did love the darkness rather than the light, for their works, what they do, were evil. For everyone who is doing, reproducing wicked things, hateth the light, and doth not come unto the light, that his works may not be detected. But he who is doing, reproducing, doing is also reproducing, it's a slang word as well. The truth doth come to the light, and his works may be manifested, that in God they have been wrought. So remember, the guy with the big eye, the beam in his own eye, was the hypocrite, because his answer was, I can take out that mote in thy eye, and his works may be manifested, in God having been wrought. Okay, so Jesus is the truth, the light, and the way. So light hath entered into darkness. Light. Okay. Light. What does that guy see? Only himself. That's all he's ever going to see. Light entered into darkness and could not perceive. What does this person see? They have no head. They're underground. Nothing. And what do this person do? They will glorify that person. You see, what judgment ye judge is going to be applied to you. And I'm going to go someplace else now with this. I've been making these videos lately about the Mandela effect. And what do they say? Say the word was changed by government or CERN, whatever. Their identities wrapped up in whatever they could find that has been changed. Even though they claim Jesus, they always say that they're saying Jesus, though, but they're saying that the word has been changed. Okay. What's the judgment? The judgment is not that the word has been changed, but they have been changed. That's the judgment that they get. They have been changed. Changed as a picture of the judgment. Because they considering that God's word has been altered. They never considered that they could be wrong. They could never consider that they were under the wrath of God, like everyone is. But for them, their awakening is to that the word is corrupt. They have been changed, but they haven't been changed to the light. Meanwhile, they're claiming light. They are the ones that have been changed to darkness. They are the manifestation of the wheat turning black. Because remember, there's not even wheat, the darnel. Because I was going to say there's the wheat, that when it comes close to harvest time, it's going to radiate white. the color white, not people now. This doesn't have to do with people. And the darnel turns dark. Now, this judgment is everywhere. Black lives matter. I have said this before. Black lives. Not black colored people, but black identity matter. So the black or darkness, not color, the darkness identity of the lives are important. And what are they against? White privilege. Look at that. Now, has nothing to do with color. This is the judgment that they are going to reap. So the darnel, because that's the black lives, says that the wheat is talking about the wheat. Well, now we go to Galatians, because Galatians has something to do with this. You see, there are two covenants. One is bondage. One is freedom. This is through Hagar and her children, and this is through Sarah. White privilege has nothing to do with color. Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with color. They are actually part of judge not that ye be not judged, and they are getting it because the light had entered in and people love the darkness. Let's go to Galatians, because Galatians is a good place. The whole thing about Galatians 4 is talking about the two different covenants and the differences. Galatians 4:1. We don't have much time, but let's go. Paul, an apostle, not from men, nor through man, but through Jesus Christ and God the Father, who did raise him out of the dead. So, Paul was already dead. He's raised out of the dead. And all the brethren with me, everyone who was like a walking dead person, the person who was under the bondage of the law. To the assemblies of Galatia, I can look at this more depth, but let me just keep it to the pertinent things. Grace to you and peace from God the Father. And, oh, sorry, I didn't want to go there. I wanted to go to 4:1. Galatians 4:1. Well, we got the gist of what it's saying as the opening of the book, but I really want to come here. And I say so long as the heir, the descendant of God, who's going to get the prize, is a babe. He differeth nothing from the servant, being Lord of all. Didn't we just learn that before when we were just talking about Jesus, the truth, the light, equal to us. God makes us the same light. I in them me. A servant being, let me do this way. That's better. Okay. But is being Lord of all, but is under tutors and stewards till the time appointed of the Father. So also we, same, parallel, analogous parallel. So also we, when we were babes under the elements of the world, were in servitude, the law. And when the fullness of time did come, God sent forth his Son, came of a woman, came under law, that those under law he may redeem, that the adoption of sons we may receive. We are redeemed. The same thing happened to Jesus is the same thing that happened to us. And we know in I'm glad I went to Galatians 1:1. Paul tells us that he was dead and became alive, and those with him we may receive. And because ye are sons, God did send forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts. What's the Spirit? The truth, the light, and the way. Crying, Abba, Father, the Father in heaven. So that thou art no more a servant, but a son. Jesus said that the Jews were from below. He's from above. Now, Jews were, that was in John 8, below and above. That's the same allegory. The Jews are under the law. Jesus is from above. The inflated ego, or the Pharisees, think that they are from above. But what do they only see? Themselves. They only see themselves. Okay, let me get back here because we don't have much time. You are in servitude to those not by but then indeed not having Abba Father, so that thou art no more a servant but a son, and if a son, also an heir of God through Christ. But then indeed not having known God, we were in servitude to those not by nature gods. Right. We were in servitude to those, the liars, the hypocrites. Saw that hypocrite before? The guy with the inflated eye? And now having known God, rather being known by God. You see, it's a condescending love. We don't know God because of our will. It's a condescending love. And that's the same condescending love that Paul opened up in Galatians 1:1. Now turn ye again unto the weak and poor elements which ye knew to be in servitude. Here it comes. Days ye observe, and months and times and years. They're trying to keep the law with the will. You cannot keep the law with your will. The body will still sin, but our job becomes no longer under the servitude of the law. We are from above. Light, the truth, and the way. I am afraid of you, lest in vain I did labor towards you. Become as I, because I also, as ye brethren, beseech you, to me did no hurt, and ye have known that through infirmity of the flesh I did proclaim good news to you at the first. And my trial, that in my flesh ye did not despise nor reject. Now remember, he was killing the prophets. He was killing the prophets. That's who he was. He was Benjamin the Wolf. That's for the Mandela people too. Despise nor reject, but as a messenger of God ye did receive me as Christ Jesus. Remember, they were scared of him at first. They said, he was wrecking havoc on the church. What then was your happiness? For I testify to you that the possible your identity having plucked out, ye would have given to me, so that your enemy have I become, being true to you. They are zealous for you, not well, but they wish to shut us out, that for them ye may be zealous. Yeah, they want, those people that want you to keep the law by your will, they want to put you in prison, in bondage. And good to be zealously regarded in what is good. Yeah, be zealous for the truth. And all times, and not only in my being present with you, my little children. Oh, I'm going to get cut off. Oh, you got to read this to the end. So what we'll do is I'll continue in the next